Five Nights at Freddy's cooked up a monster box office after creator Scott Cawthon refused to apologize to the woke cancel mob for his support of Donald Trump and Christianity. First, let's get into these box office numbers here. According to the numbers, the film banked an estimated 78 million domestically in its opening weekend, despite having a day-and-date release on the streaming service Peacock. Remember, that was the big narrative. If you released it on a streaming service the same day you released it into a theater, it wouldn't actually have a good theatrical box office. Well, Five Nights at Freddy's clearly proving that rule is not true. Not only did the film gross 78 million domestically, but it pulled in another 52.5 million internationally for a global gross of 130.5 million. The film reportedly had a budget of around $20 million, according to Deadline's Anthony D'Alessandro. What does that mean? Well, with a budget of $20 million, the film's break-even point theatrically was $58 million, given the $78 million haul domestically. It's clear the film has made quite a bit of cash for not only Universal, but production company Blumhouse. In fact, Jason Blum, the owner of Blumhouse, revealed to Fortune the film had already been profitable for Blumhouse. He told the outlet's Devin Gordon reported Blum is already out way ahead before the movie even opens. He declines to share precise figures, but he says the film has more than made back its production costs just from the sale of its streaming and theatrical distribution rights. The roaring success of the Five Nights at Freddy's film adaptation comes in the wake of Scott Cawthon refusing to cave to a woke cancel mob over his political donations to President Donald Trump and Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard, among others. Cawthon found himself the ire of a cancel mob when Twitter user I Am Griffinier, who has since been suspended, took to the social media site to deride Five Nights at Freddy's creator as a Christian funny, as well as someone who supports a crypto fascist who's allied with Hindutva militias, pushes anti-trans bills, and appeared on PragerU. This is what this user wrote back in June 2020. So a little over 2 years ago. The user wrote, turns out Scott Cawthon, well known as the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's and less known as being a Christian funny, maxed out his political donations to Republican candidates and PACs in 2020. And so you can see a number of his donations there. The user then wrote in another post, some people might be tripped up by the lone Dem on that list, Tulsi Gabbard, but if you look at her politics, the picture becomes clear. She's a crypto fascist who's allied with Hindutva militias, pushes anti-trans bills, and appeared on PragerU. In response to this cancellation attempt, Cawthon wrote on Reddit, I've debated greatly how best to address this, including not addressing it at all, but with so many people from the LGBT community and the fan base that I love, that's not an option. I'd like to think that the last 7 years would have given me the benefit of the doubt in regards to how I try to treat people, but there I was, trending on Twitter for being a homophobe, getting doxxed with people threatening to come to my house. My wife is 6 weeks pregnant, and she spent last night in fear because of what was being said online. He continued, she has already been struggling with her pregnancy, so seeing her so afraid really scared me. All this because I exercised my right and my duty as an American citizen to vote for and support the candidates who I felt could best run the country for everyone, and that's something I won't apologize for. From there, he explained the reasons why he supported the candidates he did. For Donald Trump, he wrote, I supported President Trump because I felt he was the best man to fuel a strong economy and stand up to America's enemies abroad, of which there are many. Even if there were candidates who had better things to say to the LGBT community directly and bigger promises to make, I believe that their stances on other issues would have ended up doing much greater harm to those communities than good. All of this explanation, I fear, is wasted as people don't want to discuss with one another anymore. They want endless apologies and submissions and submission. People who are expecting those from me will get neither. Cawthon continued saying, I've always been supportive of creators and have tried to treat everyone fairly and treat everyone with dignity and respect. I've never cared about anyone's race, religion, gender, or orientation. I just treat people as people, everyone the same, and because of that, I've ended up with a very diverse group of people that I've worked with over the years. It wasn't intentional, it just happened that way. I choose people who are best for the job. I treat everyone the same, and I ended up with people from all walks of life in my professional life and my personal life as well. That's the way it should be. That's the way I want it to be. That's the way I will continue to be. He then said, I'm a Republican, I'm a Christian, I'm pro-life, I believe in God, I also believe in equality and in science and in common sense. Despite what some may say, all of those things can go together. That's not an apology or promise to change. It's the way it's always been. He then said, if I get canceled, then I get canceled. I don't do this for the money anymore. I do it because I enjoy it. If people think I'm doing more harm than good now, then maybe it's better that I get canceled and retire. I would accept that. I've had a fulfilling career. Besides, most things that people can take from you are things that never had much value to begin with. I've always loved and will continue to love this community and this fan base, even if someday it doesn't include me anymore. He concluded. So there you go. That is what Five Nights at Freddy's did at the box office, and it did that even after the creator, Scott Cawthon, was attempted to, they tried to cancel him, and he refused to cancel. Big money at the box office in its opening weekend, and pretty much everything it makes after this is straight up profit. So there are good things that come to people when they refuse to be canceled by the cancel mobs that are just doing things that are obviously objectively wrong. So I'll leave it to you. What do you make of Five Nights at Freddy's box office in reaction to Scott Cawthon kind of declining to apologize to the woke cancel mob?
Subscribe for more.